Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Procurement, the only show you need to master the art of procurement. Let's go. Today, I bring in the studio a man who has had a fresh trim. I'm proud of you, by the way. Just wanted to put that out there as the first thing I say. Normally you talk about my trim, and I've felt bad to compliment your trim because it's been so bad. But since you've got some stuff cut off there, do you feel lighter? It's Mr. Luke 1. He's here.
Hello, yeah, thank you. Good to see you again. I know it's been a minute, literally. Had a haircut. Pretty good actually. I think I know why you brought this up actually, because when I saw my wife for the first time after coming out of the barber, she said, "Luke, what have you done?" I was like, "What do you mean, what have I done?" She said, "You look exactly like Luke 10." And I'm not sure if it was a compliment or an insult, but that's exactly her first words when she saw it.
She was pretty excited, wasn't she? I've heard she's like, "This is the best you've looked in years."
Yeah, now she's pregnant, so
purely based on you looking like me. Now she's pregnant.
Outrageous.
Oh, no, lovely. I mean, today's a good day because obviously I'm seeing you today, Mr. Luke 1. I don't know how long we've got you for left until we start season 3. Obviously, I am not the host, but I am Luke 10. I'm not the host with the most. I'm the co-host with the least out of us two, I think. I know that doesn't rhyme, but yeah, I mean, my tangent point was going to say that obviously you are bearing child, aren't you? You're partially responsible for
yes,
for carrying a child. So do you think we transition? You know, when I started CIPS, it was a big milestone. So we went to season 2. When you have a child, is that as big a milestone and therefore deserving for us to move to season 3?
Well, I don't know if it's as big, but it's obviously I will have commitments. I'll be procuring nappies and what do you call it? Having a bit of a duck up with sleep, because I won't be able to procure any of that stuff. So it does feel like a good time for a little bit of a pause. But I think we've got a few bits in the bank so we can keep the listeners happy. And then maybe the line between season 2 and season 1 will be fatherhood. So episode 1 of season 3 could be about procuring stuff for a baby and how I've failed really badly at it so far because it's very expensive.
How you've got on, yeah. No, I like that, and I mean, I still want you to remain the gracious and humble and loving man that you are today.
Oh, thank you.
I think you'll be a great dad to your son. I'm calling it now. Your son Luke.
Wow.
Luke or your
Jr.,
daughter Luke. LJ. Yeah, we did say that in a previous ep. Just like you've been a loving and caring mentor for all of our listeners on the pod. And if you want to reach out with messages of support to Luke 1, then we do have an email address. The email address is 2lukes1sip@gmail.com. That's the number 2, Luke's plural, the number 1, CIP@gmail.com. By the way, on that, do we have to then change the email to 2lukes1sip, 1 child? That's only if they're going to appear on the pod, right? Which I imagine, give them like a couple months.
Oh yeah, I totally expect their first word to be LTP.
Yeah.
Or duck up, or
Janet.
Pop block, or Janet. Yeah. Something pod related. And I'm also hoping that it becomes a good, like a sleep song for them.
Yeah. I don't see why not.
No choice but to listen to the pod and boost our numbers up, basically.
Yeah. They say you should play. Is this a thing? Is this a real thing? They say you should play music to a baby before it's born.
Well, while it's in the oven. Yeah, they do say that. You can read to it. Like they get familiar with certain noises and stuff like that. So yeah, that's impressed. I'm also
I
kind of
didn't-
touched, actually. It's the nicest things you've ever said, and for some reason you've brought a little bit of energy to the podcast. So,
Well, yeah, I'm just getting all the energy out in one go, I think. That's what it is.
do you have any other messages for the listeners?
Yes, you can slide into our DMs as well on Instagram. We have Instagram. That is let's_talk_procurement. And also we have a fan mail page. So if you really love us that much and you want to tell us that, you think our egos aren't big enough, then you can drop us a text. The option to do that is a link in the description, which I believe says drop us a text.
Maybe.
So-
Might say text us. Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I worked out the other day that we can change that to say anything, by the way. I
Really?
didn't know that. Yeah, we could just say like slide into our DMs or something.
Yeah, let's make
Maybe
it
by
more
the time this
engaging.
goes out, it will say slide into our DMs. We'll see. We'll come up with something.
So should we dive into today's topic?
Yeah, which I don't actually know what it is.
So I've been doing a bit of extracurricular procurement 101ing. Right, so you know me, love a bit of career growth, want to be the main man in an organisation one day. Think you'd do the same. And I was looking at the CIPS kind of material, CIPS website, what's out there, and they put forward basically, CIPS have put forward a case study, or not a case study, a series of kind of worked points that cover why you and I and all the listeners should not be a procurement person, but why we should be a business person instead.
Okay.
Deliberately long pause there because I am not telling everyone that CIPS has told us all just to sack off procurement and go and look for another career, but why we should all be business people as opposed to procurement people. So it's only a small article, but I think it gives a lot of food for thought in maybe what I've seen business people criticize procurement of being guilty of before. So maybe being too much of a procurement person and less of a business person. So we're going to argue the case, as CIPS have, as to why we should be business people and not procurement people. So first bit, at a high level, I'm just going to read them building their case, and then we'll dialogue into it. Procurement professionals play an important part in every business, big and small. Agree?
Yeah. If there's third-party spend, then yeah.
The role should not be carried out in isolation, however. Every purchasing
Definitely.
decision must align with the company's culture, goals, and objectives. By becoming more business savvy and having a business-first mindset, procurement professionals can contribute strategically to an organization's success. Knowledge is power, and there's much value in developing strong business acumen. By building the skills below, you can make better, more effective decisions, contribute to and better influence wider conversations with a broader perspective, and learn to spot and deal with potential corruption. Yeah, I'm slightly confused where the corruption angle kind of came into this, because but it's like, you're trying to improve yourself and become a better business person to achieve your goals, and then bang, also spot corruption.
I guess they're just covering it all off, right? They're going, how many buzzwords can we throw into this? Maybe
Well,
question marks.
I think if you want to be a strategic procurement professional, then you need to know your buzzwords.
You do indeed.
And I did hear that you had a masterclass from somebody else that you know in procurement around strategy, so maybe that can help contribute to this session.
Yeah.
Although,
Yeah.
um,
I would say I've got two people who are quite similar in their impact on me. and- You hate them. I don't know if they hate you. I'm trying to keep it nondescript, even though I don't think that they listen to us. But there is a war, just for the listeners' information. I think there is a raging war for power between you
Yeah.
and this other person.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I hate them. I think I've just it's a bit like
Strongly dislike.
like a grizzly bear has their territory, and then another male grizzly walks into their territory. Like, I saw you as a little cub, and I can deal with that. And I kind of see my managers as the poachers with shotguns, so I don't really want to tread on their toes. But another grizzly has just entered, slightly younger grizzly, slightly similar looking, and this grizzly loves to massage the poachers and kiss the poachers and do anything he can to please the poachers. Hence why I'm getting a bit jealous that Luke 10 spending a lot more time with him than me. So anyway, that's a real tangent, and probably
You've definitely just exposed it 100%. But I think that's fine. I don't think they listen. So I think you're good.
Well, the problem is other people we know listen.
Yeah. Well, maybe they agree with you. That might trigger them to come out in support of you and help you defend your territory.
The thing is, I wouldn't even say it's opinions. It's just fact, isn't it? This grizzly is just spitting facts.
What's the phrase? If you see me in the forest fighting with a grizzly bear, help the bear.
Yeah, except I am the bear.
If you see me as a grizzly bear in a forest, if the forest is the office, giving passive aggressive looks to another grizzly bear, then
in the car park. In the car park. Yeah.
In the office car park, then help one of us, whoever you like most. Is that the phrase?
Yeah.
Quite
no,
concise,
I know exactly.
That one.
This is a bit like Procurement Says No, when we started beef with them and then we ended up best mates and having a private WhatsApp group where we just catch up and chat crap all the time. So, it's one of those, I think, and he'll probably be a godfather to my child or something at some point. So, Listen, that's kind of setting the scene for it, right? So I kind of agree with what they're saying. Procurement are often isolated, but shouldn't be. And I think to be a better strategic enabler, you need to help basically just develop your own business acumen. I think it's quite.
I know you just used the analogy of animals and poachers, but could you kind of draw another one of those analogies? Maybe like the business is the deer and we're the poachers, and you've got to understand how the deers think to be a poacher, even though it feels a lot of the time like we are the deers and everyone else is the poachers. But do you see what angle I'm going with in terms of you have to think
I do
about how others think?
Yes, but I disagree that the deer would be our stakeholders.
We are the deer. Oh, okay. No, I see. We're the deer, and we're trying to avoid the poachers.
No, we are.
So don't.
As one.
So don't. So be in isolation. That's your summary point, right?
I think what I was going with your analogy is, as a business, we have an armory of guns. Sales are holding one of the guns, and we're holding a gun facing the other way, so we're kind of covering the backs while the sales are shooting forward. Do you see what I mean? So we need to work with the other hunters to make sure we get all of our dinner.
We're like the organisation is like an SAS team moving through some sort of enemy territory.
Yes.
And we've got the six, as they like to say.
Yeah.
Because of those many SAS teams that I've been part of.
But what we don't want to do is spend all our time just looking up the rear, and we need to basically. That sounds so bad. We need to broaden our horizon and understand what it looks like to look up the front and man the sides as well.
Look in the sides.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay,
does that make sense?
That does make sense.
Brilliant. So, the first kind of way to achieve business acumen is to evaluate and tune your communication skills.
Yeah, as in doing a podcast?
Doing a podcast should help communication skills, but I don't know if it does. I think what's really interesting is we're less buying like repeat purchases and stuff like that, and there's a lot more of a strategic element to kind of the relationships with suppliers and also the stakeholders. So being able to talk with a technical person, so somebody who sits in a basement all day building Lego houses. Like, how do you take what they're saying and turn that into a valid specification, but also in a way that it justifies the purchase financially and everything else? So how do you know what you're getting? How do you take all of the different requirements and generally have a conversation back with them, right? Because somebody who builds Lego for fun or for a living, when you're talking to them about buying Lego and you're trying to buy Lego on their behalf, they're going to respect you a lot more if you know about the product itself and if you can give details, and you can, you know, they're going to be pissed off if you come back and say, oh, well, I can get knockoff Lego from China, you know, and I can make a saving. But if you actually say, well, these are exactly the same size shape, so they'll blend in with your existing bricks, but you can get twice as much brick per pound, all of a sudden their little geeks are getting a harden, right? So it's all about that balance of understanding and communication with the different people.
Yeah, and it's what you got to remember is these people, it's their day-to-day thing that they're becoming a subject matter expert on usually. So when you're coming in, you have to kind of understand from you have to respect that they've got the technical ability, and we are sort of coming in to help them with something rather than we're coming in and taking over.
Yeah, and that's interesting, right? Because it's the more you understand about other people's goals and ambitions and what they're there to do, the better time you'll have in trying to actually work with them. It's just being appreciative of their point of view. Like you said, put yourself in the bear's shoes before you shoot it down.
Have you heard of the phrase listening? Well, the concept, I suppose it is, of listening to listen rather than listening to respond. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I have, actually, and I strongly agree with it. There's a lot of people that just take in the noise and already have a point in mind that they want to make in response, or they don't really soak in or pay attention to what's actually being said. And you can get a lot from reading people, from understanding their cues and things like that. And that's kind of why I like doing the podcast, because it's you and I having a conversation. And I'm sure you can probably tell in some of the episodes where one of us isn't listening properly to the other one, the content slips a bit. But actually, when you're having a true conversation, you get that engagement, and that's when you hopefully get value from LTP.
Yeah. So what I was trying to say was, no, I'm not going to. I was going to try and come up with a joke about not listening to what you were saying, but maybe that's proof that I wasn't listening. I was just thinking about my joke the whole time, which I didn't even say.
See, and then you just derailed the whole flow of it.
Yeah. So that is a good example. That's a good case study of what not to do.
Well, I got a feeling you might want to tell me about the second point, seeing as I sent you a link, and I think this is one of your, I say, strong points. One of your points. I think you bring this to the table.
It's like I've brought a cake to the table. It's not very good cake, but it is a cake I've brought to the table. Yeah. So the second point on there is learn the art of storytelling. So the ability to translate technical information into words that are less complex and easier to digest. So ensuring a message is clearly understood effectively communicates an organization's values and goals and resonates with the audience. I see this, I mean, maybe I've jumped the gun and this is down somewhere else, but I see this as a salesy skill, as in you've got to sort of, although we are talking to salespeople who are trying to sell us stuff, occasionally we have to sell things back to suppliers, back to internal stakeholders, like, for example, the need to go through a proper procurement process and select a supplier based on XYZ rather than just going to the supplier we've always done. It's that sort of negotiation, I suppose you could call it, but you have to have it's sort of a sales pitch, I suppose, as to why that's the best route.
yeah, I think you've got two ways of doing that, right? So using that as an example, say you're my stakeholder and you've been
What's my
working
name?
on buying Bruce.
Bruce. Can I be Australian?
That sounds very typical,
Hold on.
but if you would like.
Hold on, wait. I'll go. I'm Bruce from South Africa.
Hi, Bruce. So look, I'm your procurement manager, and I know you've been buying kiwis in bulk for
From South Africa,
hundreds
yeah?
of years. Yeah, for hundreds of years, and now I am telling you that we're going to go to market for our kiwi supplier. Okay, how do you feel about that?
What the freak, man? I can't believe you're doing that to me. I've
So I think what you mean
good?
is yeah, that was unreal. You're quite defensive,
Okay.
Bruce, because I've just told you that I'm coming in and I'm potentially going to take away the kiwis that you valued in your recipe for years. Yeah, and I've basically just said I'm wading in. My job is to go and make a saving or change supplier, so I'm going to go and do the research. Bruce, you're not very happy with that, are you?
No, I'm absolutely fuming, mate. Oh, that went at the end. That went. I can
Went
only
a
do
little
it for
bit.
a small
pause.
period of time.
Well, Bruce, let's try again, okay? Bruce, I've noticed we've been buying kiwis from Kiwi Limited for a long time.
Yeah? You got a problem, bro?
I don't have a problem. I think I've got a bit of a dream. Walk with me for a second.
Okay, I will do.
So, I don't know if you've noticed, but the kiwis we're buying from Spain, they just don't seem to have the same taste anymore. And some of our customers have noticed that on their feedback. Now, I'm not sure if that's from the supplier or if that's just a general trend with kiwis in general. And I've also noticed that our contract is due for renewal with Kiwi Limited, so I think it's time to do a bit of market exercise where we can get you tasting some new kiwis, Brucey boy.
I would absolutely love that. No, it's gone. It's completely gone. It's completely gone.
No, that was good. That was good.
No,
Yeah,
I
honestly,
like
it's
that,
coming
though.
through better than you think.
That shows. That shows you've sold that to me as Bruce, and I'm not even a real person.
Yeah.
You've made me want to follow your advice, and now I trust you to because you've got my interests at heart. You've not only just told me about how we can follow your own process, but you've also told me why it benefits me as well,
Yeah,
which I think is important.
It's not. It's almost like spinning it so it's not actually my process. I'm doing it for your benefit, as opposed to Bruce, shut up. I'm buying some kiwis from somewhere else. Do you know what I mean? Which, to be honest, as daft as that sounds, a lot of people try and do it that way. Pulling rank. So,
Yeah.
Bruce, how happy are you overall then? Would you be happy going to a tender for kiwis?
I don't know if I've got it. I think it's gone now. Yeah, I'd be happy. He's Bruce. This is Bruce. 10 years later, he's moved to England.
He's moved to Luton, and for a better life. Okay, so the next one, interestingly, is be more than just a name.
More than just Bruce.
Be more than just Bruce, yeah. I think interestingly, the first point is probably just making sure you are a name, and not just a procurement person who gets brought in when a requisition needs approving or something's gone tits up and they need help. But I think for me, part A is actually people knowing who you are in the first point of call. But then to develop your business acumen, yes, be more than just Luke 10. Be Luke 10 who understands that his spend area is trying to become the number one lowest priced supplier or provider in the market, or know that your sector is trying to become the most environmentally friendly of all the competition out there. Develop trust, pay interest into what your stakeholders are doing, and just Oh, has Luke 1 got a kid? Yeah, Luke Jr. You know, so next time you see me, how's Luke Jr.? How's LJ? And all of a sudden that bond starts to form. So I think with that, you kind of do that both internally and externally. And then people think of you first. So it might be frustrating. Someone might say, oh, I've got a query about third parties. What do I know about third parties? Oh, Luke 10 will know. Luke 10 will know. He's always helpful and friendly when they want to come to you. You know, and it might be, you might be busy and you might think, oh, not a fan of that. But just do it. Keep your name out there and your personality.
Yeah. That to me feels like something that is easy for CIPS to say, easy for senior managers to say, just go and, do stakeholder engagement or stakeholder management or whatever you want to say. But in practice, when you've got a stakeholder that has worked with procurement, not necessarily you or even your company, but other procurement teams in other companies over the last 30, 40 years of their career, they've never had a positive experience. They don't want to build the relationship with you, right?
Well, it's interesting, right? Because if I've got a very, very real dilemma like that at the moment, and I've actually got at first I thought, oh well, you can win anyone around. You know, if you want to be a great procurement person, then you have to do these things and you have to win them around, and everybody has to be on side. But what's actually working is, instead of forming that close relationship with that individual, I've got close relationships with his left hand, his right hand, and his executive assistant. And even though he doesn't necessarily want to engage directly, I know that I can get the right messages put in front of him from a procurement perspective by having positive feedback coming from his leadership team. So it's a bit more of a long game, but you can see it paying off slowly and surely. So yeah, it's not for everyone, but that's why we're talking about becoming a business person to help you succeed in your career, right? So if you as an individual want to go places, you need to learn those skills in stakeholder management and being more than just Luke 10 or Luke 1 or whatever, and being seen as that person. And yeah, I think that's what separates. Like you said, it's easy for management to say, and it is easy because that's how they got into management, right? By being good at it.
Yeah.
But if it was easy, we'd all be managers.
Do you think that's one way to I suppose to be more than just a name? This is what I was thinking. To be more than just a name, one of the ways is to provide results, right? How important is that for, you could come in your first sourcing activity, you can go, right, we'll do X, Y, Z. Something really positive happens, you get a saving, you negotiate a good deal with a difficult supplier, you solve one of their issues that they've been having for ages, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, this guy's pretty good.
This guy knows what he's doing. Yeah. What's really interesting in that is that, so for example, I secured earlier this year a saving that I thought was quite a nice number, right? So £160,000, right? I mean, I'll take that saving into my bank like tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I was pretty proud of it, right? And the business were like, yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, that's great news. However, what they valued more was a completely different contract where I was able to terminate for convenience, but in a way that didn't upset the relationship. And that got more positive kind of kudos and recognition from stakeholders. Now, don't get me wrong. My manager said 160k, we'll take that all day, every day. When's the next one coming in? But the actual business, when they had an issue with that supplier and wanted to leave on equitable terms and not have it going, escalating up various kind of nasty avenues, and I managed to do that, that has actually succeeded a lot more. And it's kind of weird because when that came on my desk, I was kind of thinking, oh, this is a bit of crap. Like, I don't really want to be doing this. I'd rather be focusing on my goals.
Yeah, and that links back to the point about understanding what it is that's important for the stakeholders, right? Put yourself in their shoes, in their brogues.
Always brogues, isn't it?
Always brogues. Brown brogues.
Brogues before hoes, as they say. And
Works before hoax.
so stupid. The
Thank you.
next one's around negotiation. I think it's intertwined to also understanding your company. To negotiate well, you have to understand yourself, your departments, your company, and what you're about, basically. Or are you warming up your vocals for a different...
No, I was just coughing.
With regards to negotiations, how does mastering negotiation from your perspective help you become a better business person? So not procurement person, a business person.
Sorry, may you repeat the question?
How does becoming a master of negotiation help you, Luke 10, become a better business person? Not a procurement person.
That's a good question. Let's clarify. When you say business person, what do you mean by that?
So obviously the whole goal of this episode is how you can become more of a strategic / influential procurement professional by being less of a procurement person and more of a business person. So i.e. not just focusing solely on yourself as a procurement professional and your goals, but working in a wider capacity within the organisation, understanding what's going on in the other sections, better integrating with other departments and all of that good stuff. So how would negotiation help you integrate with other departments or just improve in your role in general, really?
So there's going to be times where you're going to have to negotiate with people on things that you don't really, or things that probably aren't in your job, what's called job specification. Like I suppose if you think about typical procurement job specification, you've got savings, compliance, governance, that sort of stuff. Whereas there might be some other things from a business perspective that you have to do to make I don't know what the right phrase is, but bring about benefits to the business. Like, for example, changing payment terms with a supplier. So that might not necessarily be a strategic objective for you as a procurement person. That would be to kind of balance budgets and making sure that a sector or a business unit doesn't finish the year in debt. But if your finance contact comes to you and says, look, is there anything you can do with the third parties, because otherwise we're going to finish the year in debt and it's going to look bad on our financial statement or whatever. If you can then negotiate with a supplier and say, look, let's defer this payment until January or until after the tax year ends in April or whenever your business year is, then that's something business related, not necessarily procurement related.
I like that.
That could be good. Is that where you were going with it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you were just focused on your procurement goals and your procurement negotiations, you'd be negotiating with third parties all the time. But even like the kind of role play we did earlier with Bruce, you're having that negotiation, that slight twist of things or reframing of things to make sure that you've got stakeholders on board. So even with your own goals, you can't run a tender without having appropriate stakeholders brought into it. Well, you can, but it doesn't necessarily mean they'll just agree with.
I was about to say that. You could, but the quality of it might not be very good. Nobody would respect
it. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it's a wise man once said that every conversation is a negotiation.
I disagree, and I want to negotiate with you to say that half of conversations are negotiations.
I'm not going there. Right.
Yes. Does that mean I won the negotiation then?
Yes. So, side note to the listeners, right? Sometimes you don't have to entertain idiots who try and negotiate with you, because you hold all the leverage. So just bear that in mind.
I'm
Don't waste your time.
Of that. right there.
Yeah. You don't see a man arguing with an ape in a zoo, do you?
What did you say?
Said you don't see a man arguing with an ape in a zoo.
Oh, God, I need to get my hearing checked out. I did not hear what you said. So, no, it's
Try
fine.
active listening. A wise man once
Who said that?
Oh dear. And then the other two, I think, for business people, is understanding what is going on in the world. And I'm not talking BBC News or CNN. For you American folk out there, CNN, yeah, all inclusive over here.
Cheeky reference.
Yep. Keep on top of your market and your industry trends. So, as you will know, because I'm sure you've listened to the top 5 trends for 2025 in procurement episode. Luke 10 doesn't know what that is because he wasn't involved. He was in the Bahamas or something.
I refused to listen to that one because it didn't have me in it.
You pissed off to the Bahamas, mate. What do you expect?
Not quite, but yeah. I think it was a turkey, but yeah, same thing.
Yeah. That's where you got the trim from. And
it's still looking fresh.
You have to understand what's going on, right? So some of the biggest things are sustainability or ESG, environmental governance, everything that's coming in with that, new procurement legislations, tech innovation, artificial intelligence, agentic AI, all of these buzzwords. And even just reeling off those buzzwords, you think, oh, that's strategic. And what you can bet your bottom dollar is going to happen is at some point in your supply chain career, somebody will come up to you and say, do you know which of your suppliers are using AI? The answer might be yes, the answer might be no. However, you're either going to say, yes, I can look into that for you. None. I already know the answer, here's the answer. Or you can say, are you referring to agentic AI or any other type of AI? And go into a deep technical conversation to get a real understanding of what it is. So one of those 3 options makes you sound a lot more smarter, a lot more on the ball. I think that's, again, being able to engage with your wider business and understanding what is actually the trends. Because if someone's concerned about AI, it's probably going to be an element of generative learning, where it's just literally harvesting your information and building kind of responses on that. Super useful, but also you've got to be careful what is actually harvesting, right?
Yeah, and if you don't know those sort of things, you might, let's say in that example, you go to the supplier, or someone says, which of your suppliers are using AI? You go to the supplier and they say, do you mean automatic AI or manual AI or transmission AI? And then you have to go back to your business and say, oh, which one did you mean? And then you basically just become a messenger in the middle, right? The business could have just gone and asked the suppliers themselves.
Yeah, and then you've just become a procurement middle person as opposed to a actual value adding, on top of your game, big money man. So having thought about that and digesting the kind of points that the CIPS article looks at, and we'll maybe put a link to the article in, maybe. It depends on us remembering, and I'm going off on leave, so the chances are very slim that it's going to be added.
Okay.
If you add it, by the way, I'll give you a prize.
Lollipop.
I'll let you name the baby.
Damn. Okay. Well, I've already named it, haven't I? LJ.
That's why I don't mind, yeah. It's not really a prize, is it, I suppose? Yeah, having digested all of that, I mean, do you agree with the article in general and kind of its synopsis? So do you think? Yeah,
I do. Yeah. And I think there's 2 reasons to that. And I'm actually going to compare it to something that you love me comparing things to, is refereeing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I always say, and I seem to bring this up a bit, that procurement is like refereeing in the workplace, right? So some of you know that I have refereed more than 2 games in my entire life. And
hold on.
What you get a lot of the time is people, or footballers, managers, spectators, they will say, "Oh, have you ever played the game before, ref?" Because what I think a lot of people value is someone who understands their perspective, and the referees who have played football to a decent level, and it's sort of, I don't know how to explain it, but it's sort of like they can maybe have a bit of a better feel for what the players are going through, right? Because they've probably gone through similar situations themselves. If you transfer that to a procurement setting, people who understand and actively think about what the business are going through, doesn't mean to say you have worked in that exact team, but at least you're trying to consider their perspective. They're going to be more valued by the stakeholders, right? Because not only have we got governance procedures to go through, we've got to hit different things in our own job, but also the stakeholders themselves have their own targets that they need to hit and adhere to. And if you understand that perspective, then you're going to be more helpful to them, and then therefore they're going to want to involve you more, engage you, which leads to making your job easier. If you get earlier sight of things and you can have input earlier on, that's going to make it easier from your perspective as well.
Wise words. And I think if you think about your last, and listeners do the same, if you think about the last year or two in your current role or previous roles, whatever it is, how many people within your company have approached you and said, I'd love to learn more about what it is that you are doing within your role and your function? I bet you bottom dollar it's less than the amount of fingers you have, unless you're a weirdo and have like 100 fingers. But
wait, don't you mean
more than,
unless you're a weirdo and have
fingers?
Less fingers?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Good.
100 finger Fred, you're fine. If you're a no finger,
Ringer.
another name in the ref. No finger
Felix.
Yeah. If you're no finger Felix, then sod's law. But I reckon maybe one or two people at best over the last couple of years have paid an interest into what you do and what your objectives are. What do you reckon?
Yeah. Does it count if you like just showed it to them? You just got your phone, like put it in their face, like, here are my objectives, look at them. Does that count?
I think there's an extent to where getting something out and showing it to the world doesn't necessarily mean that the world wants to soak it in. So what I'm saying is, how many people actively try and understand what you are doing as a procurement person other than other people in your team? And the number's very low, I would suggest. And the reason I'm asking it that way around is, it's not that people don't care about procurement, it's just that most people are so centered around their own goals, their own position, and what they need to do.
Do you think that if you think about those rare occasions where someone has tried to understand your processes and your objectives, it's in order to benefit them as well, or their project?
Always.
No one's ever gone, oh yeah, let's find out what procurement do for the fun of it.
No, but I would do the same. So I find out I would ask what finance do and how it works in my organisation, so I can understand how they budget for third parties and how I can then poke around in their budgets without causing them pain, right?
And get a saving.
Yeah, and then I'm happy I've got a saving, and they're happy that they've got excess cash in their budget that they can either use for another file or whatever they need to do with it. So it's less, it's obviously like there's a motivation behind it from an individual asking, but the fact they're asking shows that they're looking for ways to improve the relationship and they're working between departments.
Yeah.
And the reason I wanted to call it out is that it's just that it doesn't happen a lot to us. People don't ask us a lot of the time what we're doing, what our goals are, etc. And that would imply to me that we're just as guilty, and we don't ask other departments. As a procurement function, we probably are just as guilty if you take the average. So yeah, that was just a bit of a unwise word at the end.
Like, would you say, for example, it would be good to know if you're responsible for a sector, let's say, would a good procurement person know, obviously a good procurement person would know what the sector spend on suppliers is.
Yeah.
Would you then expect them to know what the revenue generated in the sector is?
Not to a T necessarily, but to understand how and where it's coming from, and because it's a bit like if our company buys Stanley cups and sells them with a 10% markup on, yeah, what is the benefit in me going to Stanley and reducing their pricing by 50%? Well, it depends, right? It's only going to be valuable if we can carry on selling at the same price to our customer, because then we're getting, instead of our 10% markup, we're also getting the 50% difference. However, if we can't maintain the cost and we have to do open book, or we have to, we can only charge 10% markup, then reducing the price is not going to do anything. It's going to actually reduce our revenue. So understanding that is important, and you need to at least understand the logistics of it before you go and cause more damage than good.
For sure.
But yeah, that's it really. So today I'm trying to kind of jump into that article. I think it's a very good point. I think if you want to succeed, and in some of the other episodes we talk about kind of success in a procurement role and moving up the chain or the ladder, whatever you want to call it. And I think actually this is more of a strategic discussion around what just makes you a better asset for the business as a whole. I did have something for the notice board actually, but I'll save it for the next episode.
I feel like you should say it now, because the one we're about to go and record probably won't be published for like 6 months.
Okay, well, I was gifted someone sourced for me some LTP beer mats. And I don't know if you're aware, but they are limited edition. There is, I think, maybe 7 left. Limited edition. 1 has been signed, but I've got a feeling we could do one of these as a giveaway for a listener.
We could definitely do a giveaway of beer/coffee mat for those who would like it. What should we make it some sort of competition? I love a competition.
Longest silence competition? I don't know.
What the competition is while listening to LTP, how many backflips can you do in the space
we can't monitor
of...
that.
You got to film it and send it in.
We get no entrance. I think let's do something like, I don't know when this episode's going to go live, but drop us an email with your name and one thing you love about LTP as a pod, and he's thinking this is so boring. One thing you love about LTP as a pod and something you would like to see in a future episode. How does that sound? Or is that too boring for you?
Sure. Go for it.
Yeah. And we can put a deadline in by some point.
What we'll do is we'll put the deadline as my birthday, Luke 10's birthday. So you've got to know when my birthday is. I haven't said what year though.
I don't want any BS mystery around this, mate. I want it to be a legit thing. So
what about guess my birthday as a competition?
What about the winner will be announced?
Definitely a guessable birthday.
The winner will be announced when season 3 goes live.
Okay, but that relies on us doing a season 3.
Are you in?
Contract negotiations are underway.
Sounds positive.
It's like a footballer thing. Yeah, contract negotiations are underway. Hoping we'll be in agreement soon. But mainly I just want to get this resolved because I'm looking forward to starting the season. Just want a bit of certainty in my training. I want to get to business. I want to get working with a new manager. So
new manager?
Yeah, Well, I assumed that you knew that we're having a new Luke 1. The other Grizzly is taking over your patch on the podcast as well. I actually think if they tried to take over your podcast patch, you would genuinely fight. You would have a scrap.
I would scrap for the pod. Yeah, I think that's the limit, right?
I wonder who would win. It would be close. Oh, you didn't like that. Oh.
No, this is all friendly banter. All friendly banter. So that didn't help with the competition at all.
No, I kind of forgot we were doing that, to be honest.
Maybe just drop us a text and say beer mat.
Beer mat, and then drop us a text saying beer mat. Why have we made this so complicated?
I don't know.
Drop us a text saying beer mat, then drop us an email saying beer mat 2, then drop us slide into our Insta DMs saying beer mat 3.
No,
and if you complete all of those 3, then you get a beer mat.
No, scrap that. Surely we just drop us a message and tell us whether you prefer beer mat 1 or beer mat 10, and give us your reason why beer mat 1 is better than beer mat 10.
I thought you were going to say, like, if we've got 7 beer mats left, you only get 1 vote. You can pick, I'll have beer mat 6, and if that one's still available,
then there's only one getting posted, mate. Have you seen postage fees lately?
Well, obviously they'd have to pay for postage, right? Listeners have to pay.
No, well, I'll find out.
I'll
find out as the winners in, like, I don't know. I was trying to think of somewhere far away, and I thought of Dorset. But
if you're in Dorset, we'll send it to anywhere except Dorset. Okay, that's the rules of the competition.
The Dorset Ultras are going to be fuming.
They're in Poole. They're having rage right now. They're just crying with anger. Do you know what? I'll tell you what. You can pay for it if it's anywhere in the world except Dorset, and I'll pay for it if it's in Dorset.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So. Hoping on the Dorset Massive don't come and get the beer mats. Anyway, I forgot what the competition was, but just ask for a beer mat and you probably get one. Yeah.
Maybe give us something we can use in an episode. That's all I care about. Give us a little bit of feedback or insight. Reference the beer mat, and then we'll probably select the best one. So,
or a funny office/procurement story or confession or something. Even a little nugget that we can use in the pod.
Just remember to ref beer mat in whichever format you're communicating with us. Otherwise, we will totally forget that you're even in the competition.
Yeah.
On that
note,
you
might even forget about this competition.
Your entries, and we will see you on the next episode.
Sounds good. See you later.
See you later.
Goodbye, my friend. I'll see you in the next episode.